Welcome back to Grid Drop. Today we're going to help you get faster around one of Formula One's most iconic tracks, Canada. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave any feedback or questions in the comment section or my Discord, which is linked in the description. That being said, let's get right into it. This video will be broken down into 5 sections: car setup, Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, and finally a full lap. These sections are all equally important, so stay tuned to the end of the video if you really want to improve. So here's the setup I run in Canada. Feel free to pause the video and screenshot this if you want to try out this setup on your own. This setup prioritizes balanced aerodynamics, especially front-end rotation, and an even distribution of downforce and straight-line speed. As a disclaimer, this setup is a general baseline for you to start with and applies to both hot laps and a race. I recommend doing a few laps with this setup and tweaking it to fit your own style. Into the first corner, sway towards the right side of the track. Keep an eye out for this wider patch of concrete on the right. At about the halfway point in this patch, brake. Under braking now, shift down to about 3rd gear and really pitch the car into this corner, trying to roll smoothly into this inside curb. You can be pretty aggressive with the curb here and pretty much cut as close to the grass as you can. Once on the curb, bring the throttle back to about 60%, but just for a split second. As you're coming off the curb, try to sway towards the left side of the track for a wider entry into this right-hander. Brake now and shift down to around 2nd gear. Try to really rotate around this corner, letting off the brake as soon as you can and getting back on the gas once the corner starts to open up. It can be a little bit slippery with traction when exiting here, so be careful not to spike the throttle. Once exiting, widen out to the left side and cautiously increase the throttle. You can make up a lot of time here if you really maximize your acceleration, but again, it can be tough to find the line here in terms of grip. Once exiting, stay to the left side of the track and go up the gears. Continuing to stick towards the left now, watch for the 100 meter board as a warning sign. You want to brake at around 65 meters here, so just before the 50 meter board. Pretty much as soon as you brake, start turning in. You can really throw the car into this corner, so don't be afraid to get aggressive here. Once turning in, however, be wary of track limits. It's easy to cut the inside curb here. Pretty much as soon as you're on the inside curb, switch your steering angle to the left for this next downhill corner. At this point, you should be back on the power. Into the left now, again, you can be quite aggressive, and on this left inside curb, you should be at almost full throttle. Power down on the exit now, extend all the way to the right side of the track. So that's a look at Sector 1, now let's see it at full speed. Once exiting that last corner, take the straightest line you can through this section, cutting the inside here and moving to the inside here. Once this opens up and becomes straight, you should naturally be placed in the middle of the track. Quickly pull towards the right side and watch for the 100 meter board on the right. You should brake just after this point. Under braking now, start turning in right at this point of the track, where it opens up to more pavement. Once turning in, aim to rotate the car onto this inside curb. This corner is slightly longer than you think, so take a little bit later of an apex than expected. You can use the full extent of this curb, however, I personally find it destabilizes me a bit too much. This also can be down to your preference. At the mid-corner point, get back on the power. Once exiting, be careful with the throttle and aim to take some of this inside curb on the right. Again, this one can be tricky, so it will be up to you to determine how much you like to use. For both of these curbs, experiment with a few practice laps and find the right balance for you. Once on this inside curb, get back on the power and aim to drift out to the left side of the track. Putting the power down can be a little sketchy here, so just prioritize keeping the steering angle consistent and the wheels straight. On the left side of the track now, you can take a straight line through here to get to the next corner. When approaching this corner, pay attention to this big Qatar Airways sign overhead. Stay to the left as you want to brake right underneath this sign. Under braking now, keep your eyes focused on the upcoming apex and turn in as smoothly as you can. The line through these 2 corners is pretty important, and making a small mistake here can end up ruining your lap. When turning into this corner, aim to use the curb, but avoid this orange section. At the apex, put the power down consistently and prepare for the left-hander. If you had a proper line through this last corner, this left is no problem and can be taken almost flat out. Coming off this curb can be a little bit bumpy, so reserve a little extra room with the throttle to make sure you don't lose rear grip on exit. Now sway to the right side of the track and head towards the hairpin. So that's a run through of Sector 2, now let's see it at full speed. Sector 3 is really only 2 corners. Into the hairpin, stay to the left side of the track and watch for this patch of concrete on the left. About a car length ahead of this, brake. Under braking now, shift down to second gear and turn into the hairpin. Try to keep close to this inside curb, and you can use a pretty standard racing line here. Try to rotate the car as well as you can, as going wide on exit here can leave you with front wing damage. Getting back on the power on the apex now, keep the car tucked into the corner before widening out to the left in order to maximize the full track width. Now straighten out the wheels and get on the power. Remember to enable DRS at the line here and fly down the straight. This straight is obviously pretty long, so you have lots of time to focus on your braking point. Watch for the meter boards on the left. You want to brake at the 100 meter board. It can be tricky to figure out where to turn in here, so use these Aramco boards on the left. As your car reaches the first sign, turn into the corner. Make sure to watch track limits here, but you can pretty much take the entire inside curb. Keep at least 50% throttle through this corner and the chicane, and at mid-corner, switch the steering angle to the left. This left-hand curb can also be taken pretty aggressively, but again, watch track limits. It can be pretty bumpy on exit here, so be cautious when getting through this curb. On exit, extend all the way to the right side of the track, but keep it as clean as tidy as you can. You don't want to end up in the wall here. I'm aware this section of the lap might potentially be the hardest, so the key for this corner is practice. As a general tip, practice this section at different speeds and purposely take different amounts of curb to feel the difference in the car. Now on the right side of the track, enable DRS and fly down the straight. That's a look at Sector 3, now let's see it at full speed. Now let's take a look at a full lap. So there you have it, a full lap of Canada broken down corner by corner and sector by sector. If you have any questions or need more tips, feel free to leave a comment on this video or in my Discord. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.